What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Rexx Ruger. Watching my back, as always. You know him, you love him. El Flaco Explosivo, a.k.a. the Alexis Arguello puppet, who just recently had his first stare down in a long time against the legend himself, the living legend, James Lights Out Tony. Unfortunately, it didn't go so well for the Alexis Arguello puppet. He got bested. James Toney went to the classic when they exchanged words, pulled out the "your mama." That pretty much shut Alexis right on down. But hey, he's still here, still got the job co-hosting. So he's got that going for him. He's on the world's greatest boxing podcast. My guest is here now. We're going to get into it and chop it up with him right now, man. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's go. You know what? Just in my life, man, I wish my nickname was Slick. I would do anything to be called Slick in life, man. It's literally the best, man. And I'm always intrigued by nicknames, man. So I got to know, man, who's the guy that dubs you Slick?
He passed away. He was one of the old coaches in the gym. His name is Neil Smith.
And what did you do to deserve it? He was just looking at the skills and just was like, damn, you're Slick.
Well, I would honestly, other gyms would come to box, and it would be hard to hit me like flush in the face. Like I had a lot of good head movement.
Yeah.
I was like specializing in being defensive. Like that was fun.
And where does that come from, man? Like when you're getting into boxing, man, did you have a guy that you like looked up to and watched and wanted to emulate? You know, when we're young, we all have those sports heroes.
Yeah, a friend of mine's put me. I would watch boxing here and there, but a friend of mine's who also passed away is my brother. He introduced me to Sugar Shane Mosley, and that's who wound up getting me my first 6 pro fights.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When you say got you your first 6 pro fights, like he was putting you on his cards or promoting you?
on the cards, and when he had a part ownership in Golden Boy at the time with him, Barrera. And Bernard, they had a part ownership in Golden Boy. I went to camp twice with Shane, and he just put me on the undercards.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, because obviously I've got notes here and I've done my research on stuff to talk to you about, man. But you just had a fight this past October, and you're still and you're still going at 44 years old.
Well, yeah. I think a lot of the fighters, they're not like our era was a lot harder coming up, and not to take nothing, not 1 point, not nan speck away from the guy I lost to. I was fighting with a hurt hand for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
My first right knuckle.
Yeah.
I had to wind up getting a stem cell after the loss, because I just felt like Superman. But after the loss, it was like, you can't keep fighting, going up the ladder, more stiffer guys with one hand. So he did his job, and it was a decision, but it was a little more to it besides that.
And so do you feel like, though, that you have more fighting to do at 44 years old?
Yeah, I mean, with me, I look at it like this: like my dad, my mom, nobody smokes, drinks, do drugs, on or off ever. I'm a gym rat, and when I look at it, I'll say within my 20 plus years of fighting, I only had my nose busted twice.
Yeah.
Sparring, fighting hard as you want to spar, fight hard as you want to fight. And I mean, we all get hit, but we talking about like really flush, like back to back and certain fights. So my love for boxing is still there. It's just diminishing a bit when it comes to the politics of it.
I get that. Yeah. And so physically, we'll get back to the politics part in a second, man. But at 44 years old, because this is very debatable, man. It used to be a guy's prime used to be equated to his age. But then when you get older, though, you do figure stuff out mentally, though, and it's a different kind of prime, man. Like, where do you view like your prime? Like, or are you in the midst of it? Are you coming out of the tail end of it? Do you still feel like you're in your prime?
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. Because TV shows you what they want to show you.
Right.
So for example, it was a reason a lot of those promoters didn't want to put their young prospect in there with Bernard. There was a reason.
Right.
like I read Mike Tyson's book, and that's one of my idols. Far as this sport, that's one of them. And a lot of people don't know the Tyson you see is because like he'll tell you in his book he was doing drugs,
Right.
cocaine and liquor, and
Yep.
so when you see a Mike Tyson and you say, "Oh wow, he lost to Buster Douglas," or "He lost to this guy, he's getting old," they don't show you what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Like
Right.
I'll get in the ring with your 24-year-old, 25-year-old and whip his ass all across the ring. Like
Yeah.
literally sparring, whatever you want to do. Like people tell me every day they can't believe my age in the gym. So I just personally, this is my opinion, I think that's bullshit. Because a lot of guys they'll show you, not to drag the question out, on TV, they'll say, "Oh, this guy's 40 years old," but they don't tell you he's there just for a check. He's not a
Right.
gym rat,
Right. Right. Right.
So their perception of when you getting old, you know, I'll tell people just look at George Foreman. Power's the last thing to leave.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
get in there
Absolutely.
playing and you get caught, you out of there.
And you feel like sometimes, though, man, getting back to your previous point, about the politics side of boxing, though, do you feel like sometimes, though, as a fighter that gets on in age, do you feel like when you are put in there with a younger guy, that sometimes, man, you get that feeling like, you're there to lose, or you're there to be a stepping stone, or that maybe like you might not get the same advantages because they're trying to take the young guy and push that narrative?
100%. They but what they do is they won't tell you also is like I just gotta and I'm not gonna say the guys camp sent that offer to me, but I just got a call, not even a call, because the promoter who sent it, he sent it through my coach and I blocked him. But the message was sent to me to fight like June something they have at the Prudential for $6,000. So if somebody tell you I turned to fight now, more than likely that's why. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not. That doesn't make you say, "Get up, this is fun."
Right.
Like
Right.
my fun fights is like the fight before my last. When you tell me he's 22 wins with 17 knockouts, he's coming to fuck you up. Like that's fun to me.
That's
That's
fuel.
like, bet,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
That's fuel. Yeah.
But if you telling me $6,000, $10,000 is like I've been doing this too long. That's not fun. I got 10,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So
not to
what's the
not to
motive?
be.
So what's the motivation to keep going right now at 44 years old? Because obviously, man, I can sense that passion. You're obviously doing this for more than just money. You know what I mean? Like, is it still that fuel that you're chasing, man? Like getting up for these young guys?
Yeah, every time I see him, like when I saw when I see the Boots Ennises and people say, "Oh my God, he's great," because he is.
Yeah.
He's great. But I tell people, look, um, we come from that style in Jersey,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the Philly and stuff. Like we come that, so I'm used to seeing that. So to you, that's like he's unbeatable.
Yeah.
To me, that's normal, and not to take nothing away from him. I'm like, let me get one like a call, because the way he blasts those guys, I sit and I watch and I be throwing my phone and shit. Like, man, because I got power in both hands. I got a great chin. I'm very hard to hit. I got
Yeah.
great foot movement. I'm talking like I can break dance. I go to any party you send me to, and you will know how old I am.
When you're in the house.
So it's just that's the fuel. When I keep watching this shit on TV, I say, man, put me in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just to silence the people. Everybody's gonna want to be my friend. And then also it's like I don't know what to do with all this energy. Like if I don't box or go do something, it's like I don't want to sit around and just be having sex with women or something just to.
It provides a purpose. It
Yeah,
provides purpose.
it's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I've been doing karate since age 5, so
Yeah.
I came up fighting. Like I like it. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and so who are some guys? Obviously, you're still actively competing or want to actively compete. So I imagine that you look at guys as potential opponents. But are there some guys from a fan standpoint that you enjoy watching right now that are doing it? Like, is there somebody that if they're fighting that you'll say I got to tune in and watch?
so I'm a Libra, right? Shakur is from my town,
Yep.
North, and I like, not because everybody else like him. I have reasons, and I'll give you one. I like Crawford, and the reason I like him is because he was the underdog. Like you know, they was arguing with the, hey, you got to come across the street just to get the fight with Earl, and they kept pushing him back,
Right.
and it was like when he got his time, it's like now everybody wanted to be his friend. That's just what I vision for myself.
Yep.
You know, like I like the underdog guy that they don't want to let on, because some guys they have it easy. You get the promoter, and it's like, phew.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like with a guy like Shakur, I'm glad you brought him up, man, because yes, he's a Jersey guy, just like yourself. It infuriates me, and I guess probably this is, maybe casuals or people that don't really that aren't in-depth fans of the sport, man. But you tend to see a lot of what Shakur does be bashed by fans as not crowd friendly or fan friendly or whatever. Me being so passionate about the sport, I appreciate and realize how difficult it is to do what Shakur does or whatever. What would you say to people though who are critical of guys, who show up and put on that kind of fight?
You it's like it's like shopping for different events. You got weddings, you got stuff you might wear to a house party. You have different outfits for different occasions. You can't put every fighter into the same occasion. You can't, because you're gonna be disappointed. You can't look for Mike Tyson every time you see Shakur fight.
Right.
Some people want to see boxing. Sometimes some people want to see knockouts. Sometimes some people want to see both. Um, his style is his style, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you have other fighters with different styles that you can favor to watch.
Yeah. And so for you, how early on did you get boxing gloves on? How early on did you get started doing this?
I started in 2000. I started late. I only had 13 amateur fights, but like I was like knocking everybody out in the Golden Gloves. And what I tell people when they say, you know, what about this, or like the Tanks and the Crawfords, I say, look, all of those fighters you name, they have at least over 100 amateur fights. They
Right.
had 100 times to get it right.
Right.
There's nobody walking around here right now. In the words of Steve Ham, a lot of people are not going to tell you great. Steve Ham was one of the fighters in Newark. I'll tell people there's nobody walking around here right now that I see with 13 amateur fights fighting the way I fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm, you can safe to say I'm learned on a job or whatever. I didn't have the background when they start the junior Olympic, and all of that when they were young. But, for me to have 13 amateur fights, if you put me in there, you wouldn't know.
Right. And what was the impetus to start fighting, man? Like, were you getting in street fights? Were you realizing you were good with your hands? I mean, or was it just, were you looking for it to be a pastime? Just stumbled into a gym?
No, rest in peace, Fahim. Fahim Gordon. Well, like I said, I started doing karate at 5, and like the hustlers outside my building on Elizabeth Avenue, they would like always like try to slap box me, and they would see I had fast hands, and everybody used to say, "That motherfucker got a right hand that's crazy." So I paid no mind to it. So one day, Fahim went to the boxing gym on Sunset, and then he was like, "Man, it's hard, man. I'm telling you, boxing's hard." And I was like, "Man, that ain't shit compared to the way my dad used to train us in karate."
Yeah.
He's like, I was like, "What you do?" He said, "Push-ups, sit-ups, dips, and we do rounds on the back." I said, "That's it?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Nobody kicked you in the stomach? No. Nobody hit you with bamboo sticks across your head, make you drop? No. Nobody make you do push-ups on your knuckles? No." I said, "That's bullshit." I
Piece
went
of
up there.
cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went up there, and the first day they like, "Well, let me see what you got." And I boxed a guy named Assad, and I still want to get him back to this day. And I knew how to circle the ring in
Yeah.
karate. I was
Yeah.
circled, and I threw a few punches, and he started jabbing. I threw a right hand, hit him. He went across the ring, but after that, it was like 2 rounds we went, and he gave me a black eye, and I was like, "Motherfucker, that's it. I'm coming back." And I just kept going. After that, I just kept going.
And was it hard? Was it hard for you to climb into a ring, man, like with the karate background and like restrain yourself, like from getting hit and wanting to use your feet?
No, not
No.
no, no, no. Just because I know how to move, and I know because I used. I used to be a part of a dance group. We used to call ourselves the Brick City Dancers because Newark they call Brick City. So we
Right.
would break dance, pop, spinning, locking. So it was just like, okay, I'm used to moving and dance routines. Our dance routines used to be like when we would perform, we were going to BT, Chicago, all kinds of places.
Yeah.
And I would be used to dancing 15-minute routines, flipping, dropping on the floor, push your
Right.
body up. So boxing, it was like, all right, once you show me how to get away from the punches we throwing, this is a cakewalk.
And you feel like I'm sure you'll answer yes to this, but I'd like to even hear you elaborate a little more. You talked about the dancing, man. That had to pay dividends though, as far as like helping with footwork.
When I tell you, I've not used it. And there are fights, in the fights I lost, I should have, but I was being stubborn. I tell people, I'm gonna win the fight that y'all think I'm supposed to lose. Like if I use my legs, I won't. The fight, Sugar Shane Mosley, he agreed with me because he said it's like he boxing, like hit and move. He's like, it's like boring to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I never use like my leg, like touch you move and
Yeah.
make it real hard to hit. Like
Yeah.
I can sit in the pocket and make you miss and stuff. But
Yeah.
so I never use my legs, but if I use my legs, I would probably be undefeated still.
And you feel like when you were doing karate and then you segued into the boxing, uh, uh, there's probably not as much the like fame, celebrity, or a paycheck involved. But did you ever flirt with the idea of kickboxing, which would combine both,
I might
or
have
mixed
thought
martial
about
arts,
it.
or mixed martial arts? I should add that onto it too.
Yeah, yeah, but by the time MMA like started and I started to look at it, I was like, well, that's a little more brutal to me.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't see people having real long careers.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't see it. My
Right.
opinion may not be because there are people who do have long careers. They're just great, like Habib,
Right.
stuff like that. So I just was like, you taking elbows today and knees in the face, like you won't be around long. So I just didn't think about it.
Now, what about like a guy like Terrence Crawford, man? Ask you a couple of current hot topics that are going on in boxing right now. It looks like we might get the chance to actually see him fight Canelo. Coming up, a lot of weight conferences, or weight divisions, excuse me, to a weight division where Canelo has lived and campaigned for a while now. Where do you rate his chances on pulling something like that off?
Um,
I got to say, he's walking around looking pretty swole right now, man. He looks like he's all of 180 something. So it looks like he can carry the weight. But I mean, how it'll suit him in the ring is a different story.
that's what I'm looking at. Crawford said it way, way back when they first was playing with the idea of him and Canelo. He said there's weight class for a reason.
Right.
I guess then when he, maybe saw Canelo and said, "Hey, he's the same size as me, height wise." Oh well, and my arms may be longer. I can get him. Um, I think he has a good chance to do it. I just, what would make me go with Canelo? I don't know if he can handle that power.
Right.
Because Crawford has things that I do in the mix of a fight. Sometimes he'll get a little stubborn, like you hit him and say, "All right, motherfucker, let's do it."
Right. Got a little dog in him. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that might work against
Could be
him.
his downfall. Yeah.
Yeah, if his chin ain't strong enough
Yeah.
for Canelo.
And what about this is a polarizing topic, man, but a lot of old school guys, who are protective of the sport, have one opinion on it, and then there are people who like the fact that it brings new eyes to the sport. But where do you stand on these Jake Paul type events? Good for boxing or bullshit?
Um, I respect every man's hustle.
Yeah.
I like Jake Paul tried to go through the right channels of getting boxing, information and hooking up with Shane to, actually learn and do it. But I can't blame him. I honestly can't. I blame the fans because it's like, if you see this what it is, why are you buying it?
Right. Right. Right.
Let's just be fair. That's what I say to everybody. Like you buying it. You it's like a dice game, or you're at the gambling hall. You chasing something. You chasing the fact that you want to see him lose, but
Right.
he's picking the right opponents and he know what he's doing.
Right. Right. Right.
So
And so, can you look at him, man? I know he's trying to live like a fighter, train like a fighter, trying to make the public believe he's a fighter. He's got some names on his resume, albeit they're either not very good at boxing or they're guys that are well past their prime. I mean, they were one-time legends or whatever. But are you able to look at him as a fighter yourself and say, yeah, I'll give him his credit. He's a fighter right now. Or has he not earned that? Can you not look at him and say he's a legit fighter?
without disrespecting the guy, I won't say he's on an amateur level fighting.
Amateur level.
I
Yeah.
would give him that. He's
Yeah.
just not, going through the headgear. So he's
Yeah.
picking the right opponents.
Right. Broke my
I
heart.
think soon he'll be.
I'm not gonna lie, man. It broke my heart to see him come out with a W over Mike Tyson, man. In my mind, that doesn't happen in real life, man. I don't care if Mike's in a wheelchair and 85 years old, man. He ain't beating Mike Tyson, man, unless they had that shit scripted. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm going with, because, like I say, I tell people, look, Mike Tyson trained harder in training. You seen him throw more punches in
He
training.
looked great. Yeah, looked great.
And even if he would have gave us 3 rounds of the way he trained, I don't think Jake would have been in there if Tyson would have came out even the first 3 rounds, even half of the old Mike Tyson. But
yeah,
I think something was a little up with that.
Now, I know it's kind of old news because it happened last month, and if something happens in the previous month, I try not to let it bleed into this month, man. But I got to ask, man, even though it did happen in March, where did you stand on the Tank Davis-Lamont Roach fight? How did you see it? Just because it's really, just because I only keep asking it, man, because it really is it really seems to be one of the only times thus far that we've seen somebody really hang and being competitive with Tank in there.
Well, you got to look at the Floyd Mayweather manuscript. I tell people, I say in regards to that fight, Floyd, even dealing with Golden Boy, they told me personally, like, if you're a boxer puncher, we'll bring a lot of Mexican or Spanish guys because they'll make you look good because they got big balls. They come straight to you to fight.
Right.
You can, your style will look good on that. But then when you get the black fighters, we tend to know each other's styles, and when you go ahead and you do that, that's what you're gonna get.
Right.
And I'm not saying in no shape or form that a Mexican fighter can't beat a Tank Davis. I'm just saying when we come up around us, we familiar with those styles. He Baltimore, he's right there next door, DC.
Right.
He's familiar with the style. And I mean, and another thing too, I don't know if this happened, but a lot of these fights that y'all seeing that's competitive is because they fucking sparred each other.
Yes.
They're fucking soft, man. You want to spar somebody now, you want to fight them. I don't want to spar. When Paul Williams was fighting, they was trying to I don't want to spar. I don't want to spar nobody. I don't want to spar Birdo. I don't know. I want to fight.
Yeah. You want an actual, send me an actual contract.
But what I do appreciate big time about Tank, I'm talking about big, is the fact that he gave him a shot.
Yes.
Like, how rich you guys want to get? Like, you look around and now everybody's saying, "Oh, I'll fight Lamont Roach now." Yeah, but look at what he did. He gave somebody who didn't get a shot. You wanted somebody to give you a shot.
Right.
I watch these guys, they'll get in and they'll go travel from city to city to watch everybody else fight. And it be guys from their hometown or close to their hometown they won't even speak of.
Yeah. And now what about it was a very polarizing topic, man, but what about the controversial round 9 knee? If you're in the opposite corner, man, do you think you scored a knockdown against Tank? Obviously, the New York State Athletic Commission, man, held fast, and they didn't do anything in terms of scoring it a knockdown or reversing the decision, which I didn't think they would do.
I think it could have been a knockdown. I think it could have. And then when I looked at it based on what they were saying, it could have either way. I'm kind of like in the middle with it.
Now, with that being said, though, because you did bring up the politics side of boxing, though, man, do you feel like because Tank, is the A side and is one of the faces of boxing right now, that maybe if that was Lamont that had taken the knee, maybe it would have been scored differently, man? Do you feel like maybe he might get some preferential treatment, based on the fact of being the A side?
100%.
Yeah,
And they know Tank fill them seats, so it's like they're gonna
yeah,
do less than minimum to try to hurt that. You know,
right, right, yeah,
it's like everybody knows what's understood ain't got to be explained when it comes to the
right,
refs and everybody else. Like that.
right, right. And now, sometimes it's not always the most obvious answer, man. But on your current resume, man, is there anybody that you would shout out that's given you the toughest fight?
Um, that I would shout out. No, nobody.
Comes to mind?
That I wanted to. Like when I would have loved to. By now, I probably would be shouting out Jamel Charlo because he turned me down twice. When he was dealing with Golden Boy and signed with Shelly Finkel and um the guys like when they called and said Sean Porter at one time, and I'm like, yeah, well, let me get Sean Porter. We'll let you know. So it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
nobody wants to lose to the older guy, and the guy that can punch everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people skip over him. So it's like I didn't get the shot that I want from nobody in my weight class yet. So
yeah. And so,
yeah.
what do you feel? And so, what do you feel now? As I mentioned at the top of the interview, you had the fight in October, man. Like, what do you feel is next? Is there anything on the horizon, man, or are you not at that point yet?
So what I was doing is, at that point, I would promote my own shows, put my money up, and I would fight the main event on my own shows. So that's probably what's coming next.
Okay.
Is coming next. It just to keep busy because it's still on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm like an 8. It's still fun to me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't come home and say, "Oh man, I feel old. This is fucked up. I gotta stop." Like I don't have that feeling. It's like I still will get up and run and I don't like that punch he hit me with. I'm going running tomorrow. Everybody in the gym line up. Get like I still do shit like that. Like y'all, everybody line up. We
Yeah.
fight. So I'll still continue to book little tune-up fights and until somebody feel like they want to jump in the water. Them guys, them Devin Haney's and all them come up to 147. It's like, all right, let's see. I put a lot of seats, a lot of asses in seats when it comes to Jersey. So somebody, feel like they want to see how it is.
So it's
See,
not outside the realm of possibility, man. Like when you bring up those names, man, it's not outside the realm of possibility that you could find yourself. I don't know where you rate your chances of this happening, man, but you could find yourself in a world title fight.
yeah, and everybody want to fight somebody that they feel they could beat, and I don't get called because
No one
maybe they
thinks
don't
that.
feel that way. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I mean, when you got a guy he at my age, he's faster than your 20-year-old, and he got a chin, and he got more power, and he got defense. And either hand, he got power. Either hand, one punch, he could put you down.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't kind of want to take that risk.
Right, right.
So
And I hate
I'm
to
gonna
call
give
people
it.
out by name, man, but you said it best earlier, though, man. I think we both kind of said it, man. But sometimes, man, that young prospect, gets more of a push. We just saw it a couple weeks ago, and I'm hoping to have him on my podcast here soon, man. But Terrell Gaucher was just in there with a young prospect a couple weeks ago. Probably won damn near every round. Didn't get the decision.
Yeah, and see, and that's why
Because he's 37 and he's in there with a 21-year-old, and that's the narrative they want to push,
yeah, that part, and that's why even from the amateurs, I would never like some fighters they go in and they bow to the judges. I never did that. Fuck
Yeah.
y'all. I don't
Yeah.
need you. I
Right.
don't need you. If I don't knock them out, I'm gonna lose it. I don't need you. And that's why I like Mike Tyson. Like this was a fight. Like he didn't play. Shane Mosley didn't play. When he was punching you, they was trying to punch through you, and that's
Right.
how that's what
Right.
I like. And
Yeah.
I feel for guys like that, and I want to shed more light for guys like that.
Yeah.
Like why are we getting punished for living? Think
Right.
about that.
Right.
Like he made it to get to 37, 44 years old, whatever. Why are we getting punished for that?
Right.
You know? We have to lose because we live this. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Or suddenly you got to be relegated to this gatekeeper position, or you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Suddenly you're not a viable contender. You're just somebody who's like a measuring stick for some young guy, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's that. Like, so it be times I be feeling like, do I gotta go to this state and this state to spar somebody and not look good on purpose so they can want to fight me? Like, is this
Right.
what this shit coming to?
Right.
You know,
Right.
but it's still fun. It helps me live long, so that's why I do it. You know, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I still, you know, feel healthy. I still look good,
Yeah.
and people compliment me. You don't look your age, and
You don't.
especially when we watch you box, it's like, wow. So I do it.
Yeah.
And if I had a lot more time, like I said, I asked for a rematch. The guy I lost to, but it must not be something he's interested in doing because there's a few things that happened in that fight that I don't think he want to revisit. But yeah, if I had more time, but right now it's just like we doing it, and whoever else feel like you got an easy win over here in Jersey, pull up.
And you're still competing right now, man. But when you do definitively hang up the gloves, do you foresee still keeping a foot in boxing? Obviously, you're talking about promoting, putting on your own shows. Is that something you'd like to continue? Are you interested in coaching, training, any of those ancillary jobs, like when your actual in-ring career is done?
I highly doubt. Like only my son. Like I will only train my son because the loyalty, the backstabbing in this sport, the politics in it. I understand now when you hear like the Mike Tysons and the Jin and all of them say like, "Hey, I would never, force this on my kids." Like it's too much to deal with. Like you got people risking their whole life for this sport, and no
Right.
disrespect to Jake Paul, right? He gets in and makes more than half of us will ever see in a lifetime.
Right. Right.
So it's
Right.
just like that's the biggest slap in the face for all of us.
I would guess it would be, and I brought that up to I brought that up to other fighters on here too, man. Like how he can just kind of come in and within a couple of years be making paydays that like guys have been grinding for their whole life. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's something that should be allowed to happen, man. I mean, I know it's the way of the world nowadays, and
Mhm.
social media, and it's that type of era now. And if you resonate with people, on social media, that almost means more than your actual talent sometimes.
Yeah, it hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts, man. That's why, luckily I was a little smart to I was buying my first house in 2003, three family. So it's like
yeah,
I live great, pretty good. Unlike a lot of fighters, they really need this.
sure,
You know,
yeah.
Me, I'm just like, hey, this is fun for me. So
Yeah.
I'm just having fun. That's
Yeah, yeah. Listen, brother, man, I appreciate you making time to do this, man. It was a lot of fun chopping it up with you, man. Seriously, man. I'm glad we're in touch, though, man. Keep in touch, and
Oh, thank you. I will. I'm gonna
yeah,
send you my number because like at first I thought it was like
yeah,
somebody
dude.
just like scamming in
Listen, man, I
DMs.
get
That's why
those
I'm
all.
like,
I get those all the time too. If all of a sudden out of the clear blue, man, and see, I made a decision, like last year because I had two Facebook accounts, one with my actual name. And then because I co-hosted the first 160 episodes of this podcast, I'm up over 200 now, but the first 160 I co-hosted with my son. He's got small kids, so it got increasingly hard for him to continue to do the episodes. But he said to me, he's just like, you know what? If you're going to reach out to people, maybe do it through the Facebook account that has the podcast name. But then there's no name attached to it. There's no person attached to it. So I can understand why people get skeptical. Like they see, oh, I got contacted by Off the Couch Boxing, but they don't know what the hell that is. You know what I mean? Like, and there is so many people out there scamming nowadays. I mean, that's all people are using, for nefarious purposes all over the place.
yeah, they gonna send you a link and it's like you click it now,
Yeah.
everything's they already
Yeah.
information. So nah, but
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It was fun talking to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna be around.
Yeah.
Be around for a while.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely keep in touch. We'll do this again, my friend. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too, brother. Appreciate
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And there he goes, folks. Michael Slick Anderson. I kept Alexis Arguello away from a face-off, man, because I don't know. In the previous episode, he didn't fare too well facing off with James Toney, so I figured I'd let him sit this one out, man. Sorry, Slick. Alexis probably wanted to get in your face. I could have took him down off the shelf and gave you a face-off and let you air your grievances, man. or give us a good display of your trash talking. But listen, man, I like Slick, man. I love chopping up with Slick. Not that I don't love talking with James Lights Out Tony, a living legend, man. But I just figured, man, hey, Alexis Arguello, James Toney facing off, man. But, you know, I'm playing devil's advocate here, man. But that was a fun episode, though, man. And I just couldn't leave it with Alexis Arguello facing off with my man Slick Anderson, man. So I left Alexis on the shelf, man. Let him sit this one out, man, because Slick is still getting in the ring, man. He might actually come looking for the Alexis Arguello puppet, man. He's looking for fights, man. He might, you know, I wouldn't put it past him to come and punch on a puppet, man. I mean, I look at him back there. He's got a very punchable face. And I say that out of complete love. He is my silent partner and my co-host, but it is what it is. Anyway, make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook. And please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel to stay tapped in to the most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth. Legends, luminaries, world champions, and fighters on the rise. Coming here to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rexx. We are, of course, the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of boxing podcast. And I'll let the resume speak for itself. You guys go on, look at the Off the Couch Boxing playlist, and the amazing resume of guests that we have had on here, man. It runs the gamut, man. Anybody that you want to see. As I said, legends, luminaries, world champions, fighters on the come up. It's all there, folks, man. If you like the young guys, man, the up and comers, man, the guys that are poised for greatness and about to snag themselves world title belts or have recently snagged world title belts or are on the precipice of greatness, they're on there. If you're looking to dive in and you're listening and you want to listen to some interviews with some legitimate OGs, some real bona fide legends, they're on there too. It's all on there, folks. And that's why I can calmly and confidently say that we are the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of boxing podcast. And I got good news for you. You too can be a champion. And I'm gonna stop before I give you the secret ingredients and thank Michael Slick Anderson one more time for joining me on the podcast, man. Brick City, stand up, representing, man. Great to have him on here, man. Great conversation, man. Hope you guys dug that chat. And now here's where I give you the formula with how you too can walk around life and be a champion. It's very simple. Just stay tapped in, subscribe, and be locked in with Off the Couch Boxing. Continue to roll with us. Continue to roll with the champs. Peace.